Hello there, this is Dateline Lagos. Welcome. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Here's what's coming on the program. Lagosians and pro-democracy activists pay tribute to the acclaimed winner of the June 12, 1993 annulled presidential election with renewed call for good governance and improved living conditions. Lagos state government promises adequate infrastructure at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, woos more investors through country's representatives. Women in Lagos decry increase in domestic violence at the 2017 Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Conference. Now let's begin with governance. It's been 24 years since the 1993 presidential election was annulled. The contest, widely acclaimed as the freest and fairest in Nigeria's political history, was allegedly won by the late business mogul and philanthropist Chief MKO Abiola. June 12 has become a rallying point for stock-taking on governance. Several activities were held in the southwestern states, including Lagos, to commemorate the day. Let's begin with the symposium.
Since the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, it has since become a day of reflection. The 2017 edition of the June 12 Annual Symposium is organized by the Lagos State Office of Civic Engagement in conjunction with June 12 Coalition of Democratic Formations. It attracts prominent Lagosians and members of the public to discuss governance in a democratic setting, as well as other burning national issues. This year's theme is Development Strategy in Lagos, a blueprint for national development.
It is worthy of note that successful democratically elected government in Lagos State have been marking this significance, the symbolism, and the philosophy of June 12 on annual basis, as we are presently doing at this forum. Lagos State does not only celebrate this very important day, but works assiduously to ensure that the dreams and aspirations of all progressive people to have a prosperous society are being fulfilled through the provision of infrastructure, initiation of policies and programs, as well as signing of people-oriented bills into law, all aimed at the emancipation of the masses, especially the indigent.
While paying tribute to the winner of the June 12 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Ejat Adebule, urges Nigerians to continue to remain united and uphold democratic values.
As we commemorate this day, let us remain committed and steadfast in upholding democratic principles and culture by participating in democratic process such as voters registration exercise, voting for your choice candidate at the poll, and avoiding anything that can disrupt peaceful coexistence or conduct of free, fair, and credible elections. We must also remain unified and hopeful for a more prosperous future for our nation. This way, we will be keeping the spirit of June 12 alive and strong.
Many believe that Chief MKO Abiola contested for presidency in order to actualize his pursuit for good governance in the country. But have successive democratic dispensations lived up to this ideal? The guest speaker at the symposium, a senior lecturer of political science at the University of Lagos, Dr. Dele Ashiru, attempts to provide answers in the context of national development.
The questions to ask about a country's development are three. What has been happening to poverty? What has been happening to unemployment? What has been happening to inequality? If these three questions are in the negative, especially if they are growing worse, it will be wrong to say that such a society is developed, even if they have a very swag per capita income. In Nigeria today, many homes cannot afford 1 meal a day, talk less of the ideal 3 square meals. Millions of Nigerian children are out of school because their parents cannot afford tuition fee or books. Many families do not have shelter. Nigerians are now clothed like destitute. There is constant fuel scarcity. The healthcare system is in shambles. Communications are nothing to write home about. power supply is ridiculously epileptic. The roads are in terrible condition. Intra and intercity transportation is a nightmare. Robbers and assassins are on the loose.
He says development can only be real when true federalism is entrenched and when the right people are elected into office.
Nigeria must be restructured along the lines of fiscal federalism, a situation where everybody gets equitable and fair distribution of the resources of the country.
Mr. Ashiru endorses the Lagos State Development Plan as a blueprint for national development.
What is to be done in order to transform the Lagos developmental strategy to a national blueprint? The first is that there is the need to break away from the shackles of IMF World Bank grip in our developmental path. In the First Republic, revenue in Nigeria was by derivation. And as Lagos is doing now, Lagos State is the only state that is capable of standing without any allocation from any federal institution in all of the states in the country. And then adopt a developmental paradigm that emphasizes increasing self-reliance along South-South cooperation. In order to achieve this, there is the need for increased spending on education, research and development. Conscious spending on research has the potential to develop local technology which can be expanded and developed.
For pro-democracy activists, the annulled 1993 presidential election remains unfinished business.
We were talking about Abiola, the man who won that election. The election have not been properly declared. They should declare the result. The results were there. And give Abiola a posthumous opportunity as a president of Nigeria. Are you getting me? And again, they can immortalize him.
24 years after the death of the acclaimed winner and other heroes of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, democracy has been fully rooted. The challenge before elected officers is to ensure that the resources of the state is utilized properly for the benefit of all.
Still on June 12, prominent Nigerians and activists gathered at the family house of the late MKO Abiola in Ikeja, Lagos, for a tribute. The essence of building the June 12 movement and the hope of equitable restructuring for Nigeria was the focus.
Some say it was perhaps the freest and fairest election in Nigeria's democratic history, a dynamic and rare political ticket. Despite religion, MKO Abiola and Babagana Kingibe both gave the Social Democratic Party SDP a national mandate.
There was, in fact, a huge array of electoral practice.
The military junta shocked the democratic process and a marginal republic in the foot at its tender age. Take a look at the manifesto MKO Abiola and his party ran with. Sadly, there hasn't been any more difference in Nigeria's story 24 years after. This is the residence of the late MKO Abiola, and here, activists, family members and eminent Nigerians gather to commemorate the 1993 election.
We want to make this brief because we are still yet.
The issues of restructuring Nigeria is dominant in the conversation, and perhaps this year's theme resonates loudly on the current political and social conversations.
Our judgments are beclouded, and the majority of Nigerians don't really know the truth.
Nigerians did not learn much from June 12, 1993 because the Fourth Republic was ambushed before it was embarked upon.
Like a musical chair, our song remains the same, but where do we go from here?
We need a sovereign national conference. Sound the opinions of people. Let them come and speak up. And when they speak up, let them make proposals.
What President Muhammadu Buhari should do now is to immediately constitute a national peace and unity committee made of eminent Nigerians.
The scar of the death of MKO Abiola may still be very evident in the hearts of the Abiola family. Take a look at Abdul Abiola, a little boy then 24 years ago, who returned from the football pitch to meet his dad, perhaps unaware of some of the political tension at the time. But now, today, told China's television the essence of their father's sacrifice.
Nothing is in vain, even in the world. Like, I believe that's what, it is 24 years later. And so if we're talking about somebody's legacy or dreams being in vain, think about that 24 years, people are still talking about what he did. So you see that, his dreams, his aspirations will still live on, even after he's been gone. So I don't think they wasted their lives. I actually think that they stood when they were supposed to.
Every year, eminent Nigerians gather at the graveside of the late philanthropist, late MKO Abiola, commemorating the annulled 1993 presidential election. 2 decades after, so many issues confronting the nations are still on the table. And it brings the question whether or not Nigerians have learned from that experience.